my artists, and welcome back to Life Cues Week 9. I'm doing this video for the second time because I did it on my Canon camera and then the battery died, and then I pulled out the disc, you know, the little sand disc. I have another one and it's nowhere to be found, so the whole video is done. So I'm doing it again, but some of the stuff's already been done and I really apologize for that. So this week, well, I'll cover it up a little bit. This week the question is, what is the best book you've read to date? Like the most latest best book? Because I know sometimes you've read a lot of really good books. I'm not asking for your favorite book, but the one you've just read that's stuck in your mind that is like a really good read and you would recommend it to other people. So it's a little bit easier, not so much mind stress this week. It's just a simple question. What is the best book you've read of late? So my book is The Bees by Laline Paull. I love this book. I love how they have turned the bees into kind of given them human characteristics. And bees are not necessarily inanimate objects, but they are not obviously human. And they've given the bees human characteristics, and they focused on one bee, and her name is Flora. Flora 727. She's a sanitation worker, and the entire book is written with all the ritual of the hive. It's so well written, and you just get so caught up in the story of the bees. And you can't imagine how you would, but you do. I love these kind of books. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the book Wicked, and how, you know, it's a kind of a twist on The Wizard of Oz. Kind of like that, where the animals spoke and all of that. But this one there's no humans in it. It's all the bees. And it also sheds a little bit of light on the bees and the hives that are being damaged and the pollution, and how, as we know, the bees are diminishing on our planet. And if we have no more bees, there's not going to be any more anything. So that's why I picked this book. I really recommend it. I love it. I'm not even quite done, to be perfectly honest, but it's just such an intriguing, good read to me. So in order to remake my page, do my page out a smaller card, this time it's like a small size, I painted this color. I used two colors of paint, kind of an aqua green and a white, to try to recreate that background color. So I just painted that all over, which is in the original video, which you would have seen, but obviously you cannot, but that's okay. And then I've got these stamps too. The only stamp I had of a bee in a hive was this one and this bee right here. See that bee there? And so I took my hive, I colored them with acrylic opaque paint. The hive is done in yellow ochre. And then I just took Versamark ink and just smooshed it on randomly, and then put gold embossing powder on to give it a glittery look, because the cover kind of had that kind of glittery look. Their hive looked very regal. And then for my little bee, I used the orange and the yellow ochre paint. I haven't quite colored her eyes in and her antenna, but I did the same thing with the embossing powder there. You see? Now this bee, being the only bee that I had, you see how she's looking back at her stinger? She comes with the cutest stamp. So I'm going to put her in the hive like that. It says The Bees. I'm going to write in Laline Paull there, and then something about the best book I've read of late. And but this is totally has nothing to do with the book, but I love the statement on the sentiment on this little rubber stamp, and it says, she's looking at her butt there, you see, and then she says, "Does a stinger make my butt look big?" Love it. So that's going on there regardless of anything. So now I'm going to, because I'm filming this with my phone, I only have one free hand. I'm going to mount all this on here, and I will be right back. So here's my page all put together, and I promise you, it took a lot longer to do this page than this short little 5-minute video. But you know what? Sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. You know, you do a video, you lose your data, you have to do it over again, and that's no point in crying about it, you know? So my book, the most memorable book of late, is The Bees by Laline Paull. So like I said, I did my background, And then I did my hive and my bee, my cute little bumblebee, and I put that on there. And again, that has nothing to do with the story. It just goes with the stamp, and I love the saying, and I always wanted to use it somewhere, so there you go. And then I took a Sharpie, ultrafine Sharpie. This is one tool that I absolutely can't live without. These, I buy them by the dozens. I think they're the best journaling pen ever. They are waterproof, so they're permanent. Once you put them down, you can paint over. It's not going to smudge or anything. They're just great. So the only thing I would say the downfall is if you're just writing on copy type paper, it bleeds through a little bit. But for this kind of stuff, it's fantastic. So I put some little tick marks all the way around the page and dated my page. And so that's it, folks. That is our question for today. Something a little lighter. Give your brains a little bit of a rest from all these heavy-duty questions. And we'll see you all next week. And I'm really interested to hear what everybody else's book is, because it's kind of like a little book review. We're going to hear all these different books that everyone's read. And I love that. And one thing I can say, the place that I started reading books that I normally wouldn't read, I started a book club many years ago in St. Albert. It's at the retreat, Star of the North Retreat House. It's beautiful, old, it's the oldest church in Alberta. It's the retreat house beside the church. I no longer go, but it's the book club is that I started is still going. And we'd read a different book a month. And of course, like typical book clubs, everybody picks a book. That was the one place I found that my reading changed, because you're reading other people's styles of books and not always the same kind of book. So I'm hoping that's going to happen here, that everyone's going to share their book, and then we can all go read them. So if you guys want a good read, really different one that's going to take you completely out of your world, like it's almost like daydreaming. The Bees is that book. I really like it. You might think it's weird, and yes, it is weird, but I am finding it very, very enjoyable. I just have a few pages left. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and we will see you all next week. Bye.